everyone, and welcome to the Modern Philosophy Podcast. I am your host, Ashley Hayes, and I'm excited about this episode, which is just in time for Mother's Day. Today, we are talking about modern mamas, a conversation on mothering and self-care. As we approach Mother's Day, I always become mindful of the work that mothers do and the care that it takes to take care of yourself to be able to raise other human beings, which is just like beyond what I'm capable of at this point in my life. But I am so grateful for my mom and moms out there. And of course, I invited one of my favorite people and moms, Pam Iverson. Pam Iverson, you have seen before. Pam she comes on every season. She's a staple here at the podcast. And I'm so grateful every time we get to talk. Pam Iverson is a life and relationship coach located in the Atlanta metro area. With a diverse expertise, Pam has used her platform to help organize and create communities for non-male persons of color. As a known influencer, Pam spreads her knowledge on relationships and community building to help people find and cultivate similar things in their own life. Welcome back, Pam.
Thank you for having me. I'm so happy to be here.
It's always a good time. So you, of course, are just one of my favorite people. You are my life partner. You're one of the people that I go to when I need advice, when I need to just be reminded of the truth. What was your journey to motherhood like? And how many, just for the people listening, how many children do you have and what are their ages?
Okay, I have 3 children. And I, I always, because I now have 2 adult children, and I always feel a little weird to refer to them as children, but I don't know how else to refer to them. So, I,
Offspring, but I think children is going to last them
yeah,
their whole
it's
life.
just it is what it is. I have an almost 12-year-old son. He'll be 12 in July. I have an older son who is 21, and my daughter is she'll be 25 Saturday.
Oh,
Yeah,
wow.
a few days. Yeah, right
That's
before Mother's Day. Yeah.
That's exciting. So what was your journey to motherhood like?
It definitely was not a conscious journey, I'll say. My journey to motherhood. I was a child of a single mom, oldest of 3 daughters. So I think I spent a lot of my childhood kind of mothering. My mom would
Mhm.
work, I cared for my sisters. I think took for granted that motherhood would be a part of my life. As I grew, I did come to want to be a mother. I wanted to be a mother, and I just took for granted that that would happen for me. And it did. I had my first child at 19, wasn't planned, but, that was the beginning of my motherhood journey. So
Mhm.
my entire adult life, I've been a mom. So,
Wow.
in a way, my motherhood journey is just my life journey. I see it that way.
That's interesting that they're in tandem with each other. And you have some theories around mothering that honestly, they were jarring to me when I first heard them because they were so differently than what I had been raised. And I also was am an older sibling, and thus I'm always mothering. But you are one of the people I've seen who intentionally prioritizes yourself over any and every person, including your children. Did you always have that philosophy of putting yourself first? And why is it important? Why is that important for how you show up in the world now?
Well, becoming a mother at 19, I didn't even have a self, so no,
Yeah.
I was not putting myself first at 19 or even into my 20s. As I progressed in my motherhood journey, as I progressed in my life journey, in my own growing up, and started to shape and firm up my philosophies around my own life and how I like to show up to life, how I purpose to show up to life. That is a value that grew in me over time. I was married and I divorced in my mid 30s. And I think that in a lot of ways, my life for myself began when I divorced. And as a means of survival. I had to put myself first. I didn't have a partner to care for me. I was, hundreds of miles away from my family. My closest family were my children who didn't have, the capacity to care for me. So I quickly understood, okay, I need to take responsibility for myself in a different way. I need to view myself as my primary responsibility. And I started doing that. And I realized that my ability to show up for other people in my life, including my children, was enhanced by my commitment to caring for myself first. I think that's just, it impacts the way I show up in the world, in that it's authentic to my values. It's authentic to my values, in terms of taking responsibility, for myself, not expecting, anyone else to put me first, before I put me first. And that's something that I'm honestly proud to have modeled for my children, particularly my daughter. Um, if she were to ever choose to be a mom, I believe that she's learned that it's possible to embrace motherhood fully, in a way that it doesn't completely monopolize your life. That there's something left for you, and that part that's left for you is your responsibility. And it's okay to put that first. And your kids will be okay, and your partner will be okay, and the rest of the world will deal with you taking care of yourself first.
Absolutely. And that's something that I have to keep reminding myself. How have you learned to parent adults? That's something that as we
Whew.
grow into adults, we experience. What are there any particular shifts that were difficult for you in that transition?
Oh, okay. I am learning. I'm still learning. My adult children are young adults. Therefore, I'm a young parent of adult children. We're learning this together. All the shifts are difficult, and it's been surprising to me just how difficult it has been. I consider myself someone who values the autonomy of others, including my children, and not just since they've been adult age, but all their lives, who, encourage independence. I'm a person who minds my own business, and I like minding my own business. I've never been a helicopter parent, so because of that, I think I expected a lot of the shifts that happens to be effortless, but it hasn't been. I'm learning a lot about surrender, and definitely leaning into prayer a lot, calling on the elder women in my life who have mothered, and friends I have who have children in my adult children's age range. It's one thing when you grow up and you go away and you do your own thing and you learn life's lessons, through experience. That's just the
Mhm.
coming of age thing that we all go through. It's not easy. You're going to have bumps in the road because of a lot of things, just society being what it is right now, the economy being what it is. A lot of adult children are with their parents much longer. And
Mhm.
so you have this space of actively parenting children of an age where, had they just gotten up and gone off like previous generations have, your parenting would transition to a more natural, less active space. So it is really challenging to be in a dynamic with adults where you feel the need to, parent in an active way. Is not a comfortable thing. It's not something that we see modeled a lot, or that people talk openly and honestly about a lot. So it's a lot of trial and error and learning along the way.
And actually, it's funny you say that we don't really talk about it a lot. The conversation did come up recently with Kirk Franklin's, call to his son being aired
Right.
out. on the internet. What were your thoughts about that?
What we all saw was, a culmination of a lot of struggles in their relationship that has been happening over time. What we don't talk about, what happens over time as parents, the little things that come up, and how do you navigate this? We don't have the conversations early. What we see are usually the blow ups. I
Mhm.
personally did not watch the video that Kirk Franklin's son posted. I don't know all the details of what was said. I've actively avoided, kind of seeing it.
Mhm.
But, I do know that parenting adults is hard. I know that there's a lot of toxicity, and particularly, I think, Black religious communities and maybe
Mhm.
just Black communities in general, because even those of us who aren't actively religious are a lot of times culturally religious, if you know what I mean. And, that's
Yeah.
in our
Mhm.
families. We were raised that way. And a lot of that ideology sticks, especially when it comes to family structure and parenting. From what I did see, I saw a lot of that at play. I don't think that the issues they seem to be having started when the child became an adult. These are,
Mhm.
there's issues of respect, there's issues of what I consider violence, abuse. Those are not things that just occur with no context. I do know that it is hard when you're dealing with adults. You do need different tools. And I think, that's what, as a community, we could really help each other a lot more with those tools. What do you do when you're engaging an adult and there's conflict and that
Mhm.
adult is your child? People have different parenting philosophies. I don't believe in violence, in my interpersonal relationships, especially not with my children, even verbal violence, so,
Mhm.
but I think that a lot of us who, rely on things like that, do so because we don't know another way, not because
Mhm.
that's just in the heart of who we are. That's how we want to show up. It's just that, these are the tools that have been passed down, and, this is what we got. So we use it.
Mhm. Yeah, yeah, and I think even in transitioning to adulthood with my mom, like us having to find different ways to resolve conflict, like
Yes,
you have to be intentional about it,
you
and you
do.
have to be intentional in saying we're not going to keep using the old ways. We're not going to keep using violence and power dynamics. So we're going to talk to each other, and that the power shifts because we respect each other.
Right,
And I hope that people listening, get that, because the relationships just can be different. No relationship is easy. You have to put in work.
right.
You have to find tools, especially if you want to grow and if you want to be intentional about love. So I hope you all do that. And Pam, I know that you have a blended family and your partner has children and you both take responsibility for each other's children. What have been your principles in regards to being a bonus parent?
I am a person who believes that, if I love someone and I commit to them um, at a level of life partner, then that love and commitment extends to their family, especially their children. Different people feel different ways about that. I could
Mhm.
personally never, be in someone's life as their life partner and not have an active and conscious intention as far as supporting them as a parent. I think that when we deal with blended families, it can potentially be, the structures can be really complex because often those children have another parent also, so they don't necessarily need a mother per se. It's a balance with being able to show up fully for them while also being respectful of their mothers. I think that's really important, and that's a balance that is difficult, I think, for some people to kind of find. But I think that things flow better when everyone is available but also respectful of, the other parents, the other co-parents in the situation. I have an ex-husband who is an active parent, and so, my children don't need a father, but my partner is there in a parental role, and is supportive of my and my co-parents' parental efforts. He's there in a more supportive role, and I support him the same way.
I think that's dope. I know I didn't really see many examples of non-traditional parenting, I guess, growing up.
Mm-hmm.
It wasn't even until I was an adult. Like I had friends who had like step parents, but you said a key word, respect. And there's generally a lack of respect from what I the stories I hear. Everybody's like, I don't respect my step parent, or I
Right.
don't know, why they with that person. So to see love practice is really a joy to see. What do
Yeah,
you
and I
wish you
think
had no Mhm.
I'm sorry. Yeah,
No, go ahead.
I think that key in respect between bonus kids and bonus parents is the bonus parents and their partners cultivating an environment of respect with the other parents, and
Mhm.
if that is in place, it really impacts how the kids see the other person, the so-called, kind of outside person. No, it really starts there. I think that a lot of people struggle more when they try to just, quickly bond with the children without maybe addressing that kind of, the foundational
Mhm.
respect with the other
Mhm.
parent.
Mhm. That's a good note. What do you wish you had known before becoming a mother?
I wish I'd known a lot of things. I wish I'd really understood how hard it is to become yourself while you're raising other people. People always say, being a parent is hard, being a mom is hard. And I think that when people say that, what we think is the labor of parenting, and the labor of parenting is tremendous. It's immense, it's nonstop, and I'm definitely not discounting that. But I think that what we don't acknowledge enough is that the labor of parenting takes so much energy
Yeah, I can imagine.
and so much focus. It's really hard to focus on yourself at all if you're not extremely intentional about it.
Do you feel like you were able to create your own identity apart from motherhood?
Not until I became intentional about it. I think there was a part of me that always kind of on a subconscious level struggled to be and maintain an identity that was just me. And when I look back, I can kind of see it, in small ways, just choices, things I chose to do, even as like a married young mom of like really young kids. I went to school, I got my degrees. I took different opportunities, educational opportunities that were just for me, even if that meant time away from my kids, time away from my spouse, because I know there was always something in me that I think felt itself being pressed down by the weight of my responsibilities for other people. As I did mature and grow up and, was able to bring some consciousness to that feeling, I was able to really give myself enough focus to, get the therapy that I needed, spend time with myself, take trips that don't include my children, do things that are just for me. There's a light, I think, that has to come on for most of us to do that. And I think that's true. Whether we're partnered or not is probably harder if we're not partnered, or if we have partners, who aren't supportive in those ways. So it's something that we have to think about for ourselves and fight for ourselves, because it's so easy to get wrapped up in, just the day to day care of children. Is consuming. It really is.
Mhm. How are you planning to spend your Mother's Day weekend?
I'm planning to let my partner and my kids take care of that for me. So I don't know what the plan I don't know what the plans are, but there will be plans, and I'll go with the flow.
Good for you. And Pam, how can people find you? Do you do life coaching? Do you talk to single moms in general?
I do. I actually just took on a new client that is in that space of trying to navigate the adult parenting adult children, transition, and relationships. You can find me on my website, PamIverson.com. You can book sessions through that website. You can find me on Facebook, also Pam Iverson.
Awesome. Well, make sure you all follow Pam, book with Pam. And I also encourage you all, whether you're a parent thinking about becoming a parent, having a relationship with your own parents, to do your work. Sometimes it takes us watching YouTube or reading books or getting life coaches or reaching out to the elders. All of those are methods in which we can increase our capacity to love in our relationships, and we can increase our capacity to be better parents, children, partners. So make sure you all follow the Modern Philosophy podcast. There will be a lot of growth and changes that you don't want to miss. Make sure you subscribe and make sure you share the podcast. The song of the week, we will do a classic, Dear Mama by Tupac. Thank you all for tuning into Modern Philosophy, where together we are learning better, doing better, and being better. I'll see y'all next time.